Here, I know you're gonna dig this.
They'll go to second for one, and now they got the man trapped at third and tag him out.
And second and two, handoff goes to McCaffrey up the middle, finds a little room, lot more room, and he's off to the races.
Welcome to the In the Zone Sports Talk Radio Network. You're listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show with your host, Kate Diggs from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the small city with the large heart, and co-host Dana the Hater Clark from St. Petersburg, Florida. Also co-hosting Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. These are your hosts, bringing you the ultimate in sports news for the ultimate sports fan. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Now sit back and prepare to get into another episode of the Just Us Sports Talk Show.
Here, I know you're gonna dig this.
They'll go to second for one, and now they got the man trapped at third and tag him out.
What's up? What's up? What's up? I know we're a little late, but my schedule got tight. It got tighter than a hat band, ladies and gentlemen. But we here. And this is Wednesday, I think it is. Yeah, Wednesday. 9/11/2024. And if people don't remember 9/11, then something wrong with them. So I just like to give a moment of silence to everybody for 9/11 that made the sacrifice, who lost your life, and just want to let them know that we're still thinking about them. So let's get a moment of silence for them, please. Okay, let's move on. So, good evening, everybody, and hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you guys had a good football first week of football. My first week of football, college football. I mean, not college football, but pro football was not good. Man, was it not good? It was not good at all. Not good at all. So let's go ahead and get into this baseball situation because it's getting down to the wire for baseball. So let's go ahead and take a look at the baseball standings right now. Real quick, we just want to go over something. So the New York Yankees are 83-62. They're half a game in first place with the Baltimore Orioles. That's going to be a tight race right there. In the Central Division, you got the Cleveland Guardians with 84-62, they have actually the best record in the American League right now. They won 3 in a row to 7-3 in the last 10, and they have a 99.9% chance of making the playoffs. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, Kansas City Royals are 80-66, 4 games out of first place. They won 1 game, they 5-5 in the last 10. They have a 96.1% chance of making the playoffs. We'll get a load of this. Minnesota Twins are 77-68, 6.5 games out of first place. Won 1 game, they 4-6 in the last 10. They have an 85.3% chance of making the playoffs. This is weird because we're actually in September, right? 11th. You kind of say it's in the middle of the month, and only one team has been eliminated from the playoffs in the American League, which is the Chicago White Sox. The Los Angeles Angels are not eliminated yet. Their chances of making the playoff is 0.1%, but they're not eliminated yet. But in the West, Houston Astros are 77-66. They lost 2 games in a row. They're 5-5 in the last 10. They have a 97.4% chance of making the playoffs. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying to you is right here: the Yankees, the Orioles, the Red Sox, the Guardians, the Royals, the Twins, Houston, all those teams have a chance of getting in the playoffs by winning the division or getting a wild card. I don't know if it's ever been this tight before, especially with this new format of wild card mess they got. I don't like it, never liked it, and never will like it. But in the National League, you got the Philadelphia Phillies, who are 87 and 58, won 2 games in a row. They're 8-2 in the last 10. They have 99.9% chance of making the playoffs. The New York Mets, who are 80 and 66, 7.5 games out of first place. Won 1 game. They're 8-2 in the last 10. They have 51% chance of 51.8 chance for making the playoffs. But listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. The Atlanta Braves, who are 79 and 66. I mean, they're 1 game out of the second place. They're 8 games out of first place. Won 1 game, final the last 10. But their percentage of making the playoffs right now, ladies and gentlemen, is 65.1%. They have a better percentage than the Yankees, than the Mets, which means the Mets schedule is a lot tougher than Atlanta Braves schedule is. That says something to say. And also in the Central Division, where they got a little cushion. They didn't have it for a while. Milwaukee Brewers are 83 and 61. They won 1 game. They're 5 the last 10. They have 99.8% chance of making the playoffs. Chicago Cubs, 75 and 70. Won 3 in a row, 64 in the last 10. Have 1.8% chance of making the playoffs. Now I'm gonna say this about the Cubs. They're doing something right, because they basically hammering my Dodgers 2 games. They won 2 games and they hammered them. So I think the 1 game was 10-4, and the other one Dodgers were leading 3-0, going in the bottom of the 7th, and ended up being 6-3. And I looked at it this morning in the middle of the night. I get up in the middle of the night and check my phone and threw my phone on the floor because they lost the game. That's how I was like, man, I can't believe this. But anyway, in the Western Conference, this is getting tight. This is getting real tight. The Los Angeles Dodgers are 86 and 59. They lost 2 games in a row. They're 5 in the last 10. They have a 99% chance of making the playoffs. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 82 and 64, 4.5 games out of first place. Won 3 in a row, 6 and 4 in the last 10. They have 87.1% chance to make the playoffs. The Padres, who are 82 and 64, 4.5 games out of first place. They won 1 game, 6 and 4 in the last 10. They have a 94.4% chance of making the playoffs. So you have the Phillies. You got the Phillies. Let's say the Braves, because I think their schedule a little bit not as strong as the other teams. And you got the Brewers. And you look out west, you're probably going to have 3 teams out of the West making the playoffs. Now, don't forget, Arizona made it to the World Series last year with the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers are nowhere to be found. They're 6 games above 500, so they won't be in that running. But the thing about it is, ladies, and in the National League, the Marlins and the Colorado Rockies are all eliminated from the playoffs. But the thing about it is I don't remember it ever being this tight this late in the season. And let me see who we got on the line. We got do you got anybody on the line? Only person I think we're missing is Dana. But Curry, have you ever seen it be this tight this late in the season in baseball?
I guess I have, but I don't consider this being tight. There's a couple teams. Realistically, there's not that many teams that's going to make the playoffs. They're not that close as they've seen it. I have seen it tighter when, back when you could probably remember when they only had 2 divisions, the East and the West. And, you could have 4 or 5 teams right there bunched up together. So, yeah, I have seen it pretty tight, but it's been a while. And I have to admit that it's been a while.
Yeah, with this new format, it's been a while. For this new format, I've never seen it this close before. But back in the day when it didn't have a wild card team, it was always a tight race, And if you just look at like the Braves are 79 and 66, right? And they have a better winning percentage chance. They have a better percentage chance of making the playoffs than the Mets, who they're behind. So just for giggles and giggles, the Braves have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, They have 6 games left. I mean, they have 6 series left. They play Washington tonight. Then the Dodgers come to them for 4 games. That's big for the Dodgers. That's big for the Braves. I think that kind of
Yeah, and I think the reason why the Braves have a better percentage of far as the Mets go is because of their head to head. And I think the Braves probably, if it came down to the tiebreakers, the Braves will win on that.
Yeah, because I'm looking at they're on the road a lot. Well, after the Dodgers at home, they got a 4-game homestand with the Dodgers. Then they go on the road against Cincinnati for 3. Then they go on the road to Miami Marlins for 3. Then they come back home. They play New York and they play Kansas City. So the New York series is going to be really big because I think it's still going to be tight. It's going to be a tight race for them right there. But I'm just saying, if you just think about it, man, I guess this is what we want from baseball. Even though I don't care, like I really don't like the format of the wild card. I think teams fall back to that wild card spot and say, okay, we'll get in. And if you look at in the past, the teams that got in the wild card, a lot of them end up going to the World Series. Like if you think about it, if you had to think about it, you would say, well, who went to the World Series last year? Because the ratings wasn't that good. You had the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, 2 wild card teams that got in. The better teams did not get into the World Series, and I think that has something to do. I mean, that hurts the baseball ratings, especially when we don't have teams that are known teams to get in. So it again, I'm gonna say this. It's like my man on Remember the Titans. He said it's like Novocaine. Just give it time, it'll work. So I guess we gonna give it time, but we don't know how well it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Because again, if you have a wild card team that gets in the World Series and nobody really watches them or really care. I mean, let's think. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't watch the World Series because I didn't care too much for the Diamondbacks, and I might have watched. I watched. I think I might have watched maybe 2 games because Corey Seager, who was with the Dodgers, plays for the Texas Rangers. So I probably would have. I watched some of it because of him because I followed him when he was with the Dodgers. But again, if baseball is trying to make a comeback, then they got to figure out a way to get the best teams with the best records in the World Series. I'm not saying fix it, that they get in there, but again, you give a lot of teams an opportunity to get in there, and it's watering down. It doesn't give that World Series that you're looking for in October because for real, I mean, who on the East Coast wanted to watch Arizona and Texas play? You know what I'm saying? You get a team from the East Coast.
Arizona, no.
You get a team from the East Coast, like the Yankees, maybe even like let's say the Yankees in the East Coast, or say Atlanta, which is not Atlanta's on the East Coast, but you have a lot of more fans that cheer for those teams. And if you think about the Braves have more. They have more fans. There are more fans, I think, overall in the country that's a Braves fan because they're transit people. So they kind of been following the Braves all their lives, and some of them live in Atlanta, some live in Georgia, some don't live in Georgia. So they have a good following as well. So we'll see how this thing turns out, but it's going to be real interesting on how this thing works out in the long run because again, it'd be nice. It'd be really nice to have Yankees, Orioles, Houston play each other to go to the World Series. It'd be nice to see that Philadelphia Dodgers series flame up again. Even with the Brewers, I mean, you think about it, nobody really follow the Brewers, but Phillies and the Dodgers or maybe even the Phillies and the Padres. But that brings a little flavor to it. You know what I'm saying? It brings that East Coast West Coast type of thing to it. So we'll see how this thing works out. So that's it. That's pretty much it for baseball. So you guys know we do a football pick'em, and if I'm not mistaken, Matthew, are you out there, brother?
Yep.
Okay. Did you go 4? I counted 4 and 12. Was that correct? Am I correct? I think Rich was 8 and 8, and Dana came up at 12 and 4. I'm like, what's going? Dana hide in the background.
Because Dana.
Go ahead.
Because Dana knows his stuff.
All right, so
this is my year, like the boys in Miami.
All right, so real quick. So last week it was first week of football. I think some of the games were really great. The Baltimore Kansas City game was down to the wire. I think Baltimore was better than what people expected. But again, I think that if you look through the NFL itself, Sean McVay was one of the guys that said, I'm not playing none of my starters during preseason. I got guys that I want to see make the team, so those are guys I'm gonna see watch play. And what happens is your starters don't get no rhythm or no rhyme to the game except for when they first play. So a lot of teams start doing that. And if you think about those teams that did that, a lot of them didn't win this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So maybe next year you go back to letting your starters play a little bit, you know what I'm saying, to get that rhythm with the wide receivers, running back, the offensive lines, whatever the case may be, get that rhythm back so that they can win that first game. But then again, I'm going to play devil's advocate. They're saying, so we lose week 1, but we got 17 more games or 16 more games to go. So we can go 16-1. Does that one game matter to us? Really? But I think that the more games you play, the less.
I'm not productive by yourself.
What'd you say, Lou?
One game does not justify a team.
Right. I know, but I think the more games you play, the less that the games in the beginning of the year matter, because you only thing I do is be a winning at the end of the year. You got to be on all cylinders at the end of the year. So, the Philadelphia Eagles beat Green Bay. Green Bay lost a quarterback for a couple of weeks, which is a hurt piece because he's one of the candidates for being MVP. Pittsburgh pulled it out without scoring a touchdown, I think. And Kerry says, he always says, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback at all. But Fields did just enough to keep him in the game. So, Mo, got a question for you. Did Justin Fields, did he manage the game, or did he was he a manager of the game, or how I'm just gonna say, do you think he managed the game well enough to win, or could he do something better?
Yeah, that's why we won, because he managed the game.
So if he played, so let me ask you a question. Can Pittsburgh sustain that type of offense with him just managing the game? And I expect him to get better once the season goes on. But do you think that could happen with Pittsburgh?
No, I don't think he's the starter. I think that what happened was he was a good backup. That's what a backup.
Okay.
And do what they can to win a game. It's an end zone.
Okay.
And that need Russ, but we also left guard and also the right tackle. Center with that center is like.
Okay.
So I think once we get Roman Wilson back, get him with the left guard and get the right tackle that was injured.
Okay.
So Bradley Jones, the left tackle, will be.
You for some reason you're going in and out. But I get you. I get the gist of it. And I'm gonna bring that back. I'm gonna bring that full circle when we talk about something else. So Arizona and Buffalo. So is Arizona that good, or is Buffalo that bad that they had to come back from Arizona? Because Arizona looked pretty good. Let me see who we got out here. Rich, what's your thoughts on? Did you get a chance to watch Arizona Buffalo game?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think Buffalo's just really not that tough this year. Like, they put a lot on the shoulders of Josh Allen to get this done. It is week 1. So I have to keep that in mind. Like, not everybody's in rhythm. Like, 4 weeks from now, we might see something different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Buffalo is who they are right now. They just don't have a lot of star quality on the offense or the defense outside of Josh Allen.
Okay. Tennessee at Chicago. Chicago defense stepped up and won the game. And I think this is the first time a rookie quarterback has won a game and didn't throw for over, I think, 200 yards. He was like at 163 or something of that nature. I don't know exactly what he did. But, again, he did just enough to keep him in the game. Tennessee just fell apart at the end. Levis didn't look good at all. He threw 2 interceptions that was horrendous. I think the surprise game of the week for us was New England against Cincinnati. And again, this is where I go back to. I don't think Joe Burrows played at all during the preseason because he got hurt right before preseason, I think. So he never got any snaps. Did he not play? Can anybody correct me? Did he play in any preseason games?
No, not that I know of. And also update with him. When they were watching the film, when they were showing it on ESPN this week, the injury that he's dealing with is not only that, but it's from the surgery that he got last year on his throwing hand. So his throwing hand might happen again with that same injury, which that won't be good for that organization.
Wow. You talk about getting snake bitten, man. And we know the potential of Joe Burrows because he got the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl. And we all felt like Cincinnati was going to be that team that was in last place that could make the playoffs or even push to the AFC Championship game. With this situation with Joe Burrow's hand being an issue, that might be a problem for them because they need Joe Burrows behind the quarterback. Now, they do got a reliable backup, but he ain't Joe Burrows. You know what I'm saying? Houston and Indianapolis, I was watching that game. Man, that was an exciting game. They was going back and forth down the field. I think that you're going to see Houston, and I think you're going to see the Colts in the playoffs. Richardson, he was slinging the ball all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. And Houston was doing this. I mean, C.J. Stroud was doing the same thing. Now, what I was impressed was Mo was Mixon. That dude had over 100 yards. Now, they used him a lot in that game. And I know he ain't used to being used like that when he was with Cincinnati because he had a lot of weapons. Now, not saying that Houston don't have weapons as well, but man, he ran that ball. He had over 20 some carries and with 140, 150 yards rushing. He helped that team out. He could be the guy to take him over the top. Next up, Jacksonville versus Miami. Jacksonville had the game. Then they didn't have the game. We're going to talk about Miami some more, but I think everybody rallied around Tyreek Hill, and they pulled that game out. Carolina and New Orleans just did whatever they want to do with Carolina. Carolina got a long way to go. Minnesota and the Giants. Minnesota should have won the game, as said. The Chargers in Vegas. The Chargers win the game, but Vegas should have won the game, in my opinion. Chargers just made bigger plays. Denver and Seattle. Seattle kind of took over that thing. That was a good game until the end, though. Walker kind of took over. Dallas Cowboys and Cleveland Browns. Very disappointed with Cleveland Browns, not offensively but defensively. CeeDee Lamb pretty much did whatever he wanted to do. Dak did whatever he wanted to do. Even though they're missing 2 offensive linemen, Deshaun Watson didn't look comfortable back there. But again, he did not play during the preseason. Running game wasn't even there. They really missed Chubb. And if I'm them, I'm going back in. I'm going back out there and sign my man, number 27. I can't think of his name right now. That was there last year. I'm bringing him back because regardless that Stefanski got Coach of the Year last year, Kareem Hunt. Just because he got Coach of the Year last year don't mean he can't get fired. You know, right. And there are some issues going on in Cleveland right now with Deshaun Watson. I think there's some issues with him and Amari Cooper as well. And you can't blame him because Joe Flacco got off the couch and walked him into the playoffs. And Deshaun Watson's been there all year long and still hasn't did anything to warrant the money that he got. Washington at Tampa Bay. Tampa looked really good. Baker Mayfield looked like he found himself a home. The Detroit Lions and the Rams was a great game. If Cooper Kupp makes that catch on 3rd down, I'm saying I'm 1-1 this weekend. But Matt Stafford had to step up in the pocket, almost got hit, threw the ball, and he didn't get it. They go down, kick a field goal. They rushed they did old-fashioned football, running the ball down their throat, and scored a touchdown, and it was over. They didn't get a chance. The Jets versus San Francisco. Aaron Rodgers looked rusty. Jets defense didn't look really good. San Francisco looked like they're ready to try to defend the NFC again. So we'll see how this thing goes going forward. So let's go ahead. You guys do your picks. I think I might have been off one pick, but I'll double check it again for you guys. But we'll see. So since Dana's on the line, all 3 of you guys can give us your picks, and we'll go from there. And if Mo or Curry has any questions, we can hold that till they get done with your picks, and then we can move on from that. All right, guys. So is y'all 3 guys are up? However y'all want to do it, I'm just here to listen and write down who gonna win what and who you got winning and who you got losing.
Cool. Let's start out on Thursday night on Amazon. The Buffalo Bills are taking on the Dolphins. Rich, who you got?
I'm going to take the Dolphins on this one.
Good choice. I'm going to go with them too. Buffalo looked all right, but I think this week that Miami offense and defense is going to take Buffalo to practice. Next up, we got Sunday.
Wait a minute. Include Dana in this. Okay, Dana said
Dolphins. I'm going to take the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Dolphins. Do for the police. Do for the trying to hear my boy. We found out one of the times was a Buffalo Bills fan. We know why he did. And we were rusty. I think we got on with our first half. The Dolphins turned it on, but so I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Who did Dana pick?
He picked the Dolphins. All right, so. So
I don't have a list of games.
So okay, that's fine. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna call them out, and then you guys pick. Okay, next up, Sunday, September 15th, 1 o'clock game. We got Las Vegas Raiders against the Baltimore Ravens. Who y'all got?
I got the Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens also.
I'm taking the Ravens too.
Next up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers against the Carolina Panthers.
Chargers.
I'm taking Carolina.
I'm going with the Chargers.
I'm taking
the Chargers on the road.
Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints against the Dallas Cowboys.
I got the Cowboys. That got paid. You must have spent some of that money in Cleveland.
See, today I'm not taking the Cowgirls. I'm going to go with the strong Saints because they're going to put up the points.
I'm going with the Cowboys. It's going to be a murder in Dallas this weekend.
Okay. Next up, we have Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions.
I got the Lions.
I'm going to go with Baker, Maker, and a dozen in the Buccaneers by 10.
I'm taking the Lions. I think that it's too loud in that building. Baker ain't going to be able to hear it.
We got the Indianapolis Colts against the Green Bay Packers.
I got the Packers.
Give me the Colts at Lambeau by 6. Just with the QB being out, I feel like the Colts have it situated over there.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts too. Without Jordan Love, I don't think they can beat the Colts this week.
Okay. Next up, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I got the Jaguars. Cleveland easy. Injuries and problems.
I beg to differ. Take me to the massage parlor down the Watkins area district. Give me Cleveland or Jacksonville by 10.
Rich?
I'm taking the Jaguars. I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence even a little bit, but I think he can beat the Browns.
Okay. San Francisco at Minnesota.
I got San Francisco.
Going with San Fran also. They look healthy despite the injury of McCaffrey. I feel like that backup's going to do some damage to the Vikings defense.
Seattle has to fly all the way to New England, and they said the weather is supposed to rain. I think they said it's supposed to rain in New England.
I have the Patriots. They know how to use that video camera.
All right, I'm going to go with Seattle because Walker. If it's going to rain in New England on that day, Walker's going to be doing a lot of running.
I'm taking the Patriots. I think it's a long trip. I don't know how well Geno's going to play on the road. He didn't play really well last game. I'm going with the Patriots.
Okay. I got a question, too. I'm going to ask you guys after that. Let me break it down. Okay. New York Jets at Tennessee Titans.
I got the Jets.
I agree with Dana. We're going to be on Mr. Rogers' neighborhood this week.
I got the Jets too. The Titans are tough. I think they're a little better than last year, but
Okay.
I got the Jets.
New York Giants at the Washington Commanders.
I'm gonna take the
You said the Commanders, Dana?
yeah, I'm gonna take the Commanders.
Okay.
I'm gonna agree with Dana on that one too, but I feel like the Commanders' defense is going to go up and jump on the QB of Daniel Jones, and I feel like he's going to get injured this weekend.
Ooh.
That's where Tommy DeVito's going to jump in, unless they're going to bring in
You still
that new QB.
you still lobbying for Vito. Rich?
I'm taking the Commanders. I don't have anything to say.
Los Angeles Rams against Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, that should be the game of the week. I'm gonna take the Cardinals.
You gonna take who?
Because what they did, I'm gonna take the Cardinals, and they lost Poop to the Rams. So
okay.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals also. Just with the connection I'm seeing with Murray and Harrison, as long as the Cardinals' defense with Buda Baker can get the pressure on it, I feel like they should win by 3.
Okay. Rich?
The Cardinals, I think, are going to somehow become the Cardinals again and blow this one. I got the Rams.
Okay. Pittsburgh Steelers at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Broncos. The air is thin up there. What y'all got?
I'm taking the Steelers just for deep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Dan with that. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because at this point, we don't know how long Fields is going to be the starting QB, and if Russell's even going to be in that position. But give me the Steelers by 10.
Okay. Rich?
I'm taking the Steelers. The Broncos are going to grow this season, but it's not going to start this week.
Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Give me the Chiefs also by 28.
He said 28. Woo! 28.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs.
Okay. Chicago Bears at the Houston Texans.
Texans. That's a juggernaut in Houston.
The fact that this is a Sunday night game, give me the Texans by 21.
Ooh.
I don't see the Bears going out and being the Berenstain Bears.
And I got the Texans winning 34-13.
Okay. Monday night game, Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles.
See, I beg to differ. I'm going to go with Atlanta just because how close that they played against with Pittsburgh. Because with Pittsburgh's strong defense and with Philly being weak with Green Bay and Brazil, I feel like Atlanta's going to put pressure on them. Give me Atlanta by 3.
Okay. Rich?
I think that the Eagles are going to cook Atlanta. They're probably going to win by like 17. Kirk Cousins is just getting back into the game. Like, he's looking like Aaron Rodgers right now. So I'm thinking the Eagles are going to probably blow them out.
All right. So that's our picks for the day. Curry, do you have any questions for them?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
I want to ask Dana, how do you pick Buffalo to win the division, but yet you pick the Dolphins to beat them? Don't you think if they're going to win the division, they're going to have to go through the Dolphins?
Yeah, but I'm just I'm just saying, like what I saw Sunday with the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins could be dangerous. I might have to change my division pick because that's another show. But I just remember just a few weeks ago you were about ready to jump off the boat, man. No. See. Hey, Terry, get out my playbook, man. Because when I was watching the preseason, I was just paying attention to Mike McDaniel's plot that he was doing. He was just trying to figure out he's going to back up those beefs. I just think the offense was rusty, like more, and I just found out Tony, Waddle, and TYREEK didn't play no preseason game. They just practiced, and then it clicked after the second half. Like, oh damn, we got to finish this. But the defense stepped up too. And I'm just saying, I think once Miami turns it on, I think they're gonna be dangerous.
Okay.
And another question I would say: did anybody pick the Chicago Bears?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think the Chicago Bears won that game, but did not score an offensive touchdown.
You know what? You're right. They didn't. They didn't. They scored.
Caleb Williams didn't even throw for 100 yards.
Yeah, they didn't. They got an interception and a punt return, right? Was it a punt return or kickoff return?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of those.
It was a block punt.
Okay, one of those two. Okay.
One was a block, one was an interception.
And you know what, Curry though, he did say he has to play better. And he's just happy that they won the game. We already knew they had a good defense coming into the season. They just needed to tweak the offense so that Caleb can be able to perform at a high level. But again, his performance wasn't that great, but the defense played that good that they didn't really need him to do a lot to win the game. Now, the wide receiver they had, they drafted, he's out with an ACL tear, I think, or something like that. The rookie. Yeah. So
Ramadunza.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So that's gonna hurt them going forward though. That's a painful loss for that team because I think them guys they worked out a lot during the season, during preseason, so they could be familiar with each other. So that's going to be a issue that they have to deal with. Mo, you got any questions for him?
I got a question for Rich.
Yes.
Hey, Rich, how you like that J.K. Dobbins pickup as the last pick of the draft?
I didn't like it. I mean,
how did you do first week?
I have no idea. Did he win?
Better than the first pick.
Oh my goodness.
Oh well, yeah, I had. He did do better than the first pick.
Man, if y'all, I didn't even sandbag me like that again, I'm gonna call the Ruckus up in here.
Yo, so what is your name on there on Sleeper? Is that dude, Doctor? Who's Doctor? Somebody?
Dr. Mo, baby. Why would it be Dr. Mo?
Because you said something about, man, it's a good thing we don't have to use your salary money. I'll be all that money. Man, at the end, I was just trying to draft somebody I thought was going to work out. And then I go back and look at him, I'm like, well, they're injured. Odell was on the PUP. I'm like, well, it didn't say that when I drafted him. I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm all over the place with that draft. I'm all over the place with that draft, man.
Just the guy that wins league. Okay.
Yeah, that's I'm all over the place with that one.
I want to apologize to the computers that people my team. You did great. It's crazy.
Hey, Who else we got on here? Lou, you got any questions for them?
No, not really. I'll tell you that we got the major disappointment, but I wasn't surprised by that.
Okay. So my question for you guys and everybody on the panel, is it harder to fly east than it is to go fly west to play a football game?
I think it's harder to fly west.
No, definitely fly east. I'm going to fly west.
West.
You guys, okay, think about it this way. I've lived on both coasts. Did I really say coasters?
Yeah, you
I've
did.
lived on both coasts. The hardest thing about flying from the west to the east is you also are starting a football game at 10 a.m. Usually you're just waking up about that time period, so now you're playing a football game. That's why it's harder to fly east.
I think it's harder to fly west. Because you get in, so if you travel from east to west, when you get to the West Coast, it's your day is longer at that point.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like when I left Baltimore and I got to California, it was much more daylight to go, and I'm dead tired at 7 o'clock.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And
absolutely right.
You're not playing a football game at 7 o'clock, though. It's like playing a night game. You're not playing at 4 or 7.
Well, so let's take...
But for a team to go west, when they get there, like their day is actually longer. They have to go to bed earlier to prepare for the game the next day.
So let me ask you guys a question. I don't know when so.
Wait a minute. That's the thing. If you go east, because you got to go to bed early to be up early. West, you try and stay up to get on their time.
And that's what he was saying.
That's harder to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that right now, because when I went out to Vegas at 4 o'clock that afternoon, I was dragging. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I was dragging, and one of my classmates that was with me, he was dragging, but we were still drinking. And then the next classmate pulled up, and then we were still drinking. Then the next classmate came up, and we were still drinking. Then the next classmate, and we were still drinking. By the time I didn't realize it, it was 12 o'clock at night, and we were still drinking. And then the last classmate came in after 1, and we're still drinking to 3 o'clock in the morning. It was, which I'm like, oh my, I'm like, what is going on? So mentally, you're trying to stay up. Physically, your body's like, yo, it's time to go to bed, right? So now the question is, yes.
This is not alcoholics.
I know. But I'm just saying.
Okay.
So the question is, though, when do they leave to come east, and when they leave to go west? Because do they leave on a Thursday, which gives them they come in Thursday, and whatever time they come in, it's going to probably be nighttime, so they'll automatically go to bed, right, because of the flight. Then they have Friday, and then they have Saturday, where they think they can be acclimated to wherever they're at, and they play a game on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So
I think in reality, it's a loaded question, because there's a lot of variables there. When did the team last play? Did they play on Thursday night, and then they got to fly to the West Coast? If they did, they got 10 days off, and vice versa. If they played on Thursday night and they fly to the East, they got 10 days off. Okay, so if they play, if they only played on Sunday, then they're gonna play the next Sunday. Are they playing Sunday night? Are they playing Monday night? So there's a lot of variables there. So I don't know if there's an advantage one way or the other. To be honest with you, I think it all depends on how good your team is.
Yeah. So you got Vegas, you got Vegas, the Chargers, San Francisco, the Midwest, Seattle And that's it. You got 4 teams that's coming west to east. San Francisco's going to Minnesota, so it's like a 2-hour difference there. But Seattle's coming. Seattle's probably flying the furthest from Seattle to New England's probably the furthest flight, right? So that ends up being almost a 10-hour flight, if I'm not mistaken, because if they fly straight through, well, no.
I know from DC from Seattle is around 6.5 hours.
Okay, so let's say it's 7. Let's say 7 hours from Seattle to New England, and you come at East Coast time. I just threw that out there because I'm looking at all the teams that's coming west, that's playing in the East, and nobody from the East is going to the West. You know, even like Houston's going to play in Chicago, but they're in the same time frame.
To Seattle to Boston, where the Patriots usually land at would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 hours and 15 minutes.
That's it.
Now the longest flight that in the NFL is from Miami to Seattle.
Okay.
That's the longest flight.
That would say that, yeah.
Now, but keep in mind that when the Dolphins fly to Seattle, they will have played on Thursday night. So they got 10 days off, like I said. So they got plenty of time to get acclimated to the West Coast time.
Right.
So again, like I said, I don't know that it's an advantage one way or another unless you flying from, and I don't think the NFL would do anybody that dirty by having them play on Sunday and then fly across country and play on Thursday.
No.
And then from Seattle to Miami is only 5.5 hours.
Okay.
What is it? LA to Boston. I think that's further.
That's
All right. Non-stop, 5.5 hours.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. But guys, when you get an opportunity, look at Detroit's schedule and look how Detroit's schedule is set up. Their schedule is set up for them. I'm telling you right now to cakewalk it to the NFC Championship game. I know there's some people here that don't think they're gonna win a division. Now that Jordan Love is out, their chance of winning is greater now than before. Some people had them winning the division, but again, if you just take a peek at their schedule, you be like, man, their schedule is nice. They don't play. I don't think they play anybody in cold weather at all. After October, I think. So they're going to be set up. They set them up to get to the NFC Championship game real easy, like guys. And that's the part that when I looked at the schedule, I was like, yo, this schedule is okay for them. This is okay schedule. So I'm trying to pull it up now. So
yeah, because they don't go anywhere cold until they go to Chicago in November, and then
yep.
Actually, no, you are right. This is like a piece of cake for them.
Yeah, they play Chicago. They play at Chicago on 12/22. That's the coldest game they're gonna have.
Yep, other than that, piece of cake.
Yeah. And I don't know when their bye is though. But yeah, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. Next up, guys. The Deshaun Watson situation, guys. But no, let's leave that alone. Let's talk. I want to talk about Tyreek Hill and Calais Campbell situation. Now, if you guys seen the video, I think both sides didn't do what they should have done. Like when Tyreek Hill rolled his window down, he should have left his window down. Okay, and then when he put his window back up, I think the police officer kind of felt like he disrespected him, right? But they're saying he was speeding and he didn't have a seatbelt on. But how do you know he didn't have a seatbelt on if because his windows are tinted? You can't even see who's in that car. So how do you know he didn't have a seatbelt on? Maybe when he got pulled over, he took his seatbelt off at that point in time. That's one of the issues I do have. The other issue is right here. How can you be in Miami, Florida, and not know who Tyreek Hill is and a police officer? I find that hard to believe, but there are some people that don't. There's some people that really don't watch sports like that, right? And it's just, to me, it's just hard for me to believe that's the case. But then again, like I said to you guys, I went to Philadelphia to get a Mo Cheeks jersey, and a young man told me he didn't know who Mo Cheeks was, but he's younger. You know what I'm saying? So when Mo Cheeks played, he wasn't even born. So I can understand him not knowing who Mo Cheeks was, but I don't understand the police officer not knowing. And then when the guy said to him, "You know who that is?" and he's like, "No, I don't know who it is." And then,
hey, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Kevin. When you went in there and asked that young man for a Mo Cheeks jersey, he probably thought you was flirting with him.
No, indeed. No, indeed. That was not the case. I'm just, I was flabbergasted when he says, "Who's that?" I was like, "Huh?" He said, "Yeah, I don't know Mo Cheeks." I said, "You don't know who Mo Cheeks is, and you from Philadelphia?" He said, "I don't." He said, "I don't like basketball." I was like, "You don't like basketball?" I'm like, "Man, and that's fine and dandy that you don't like basketball." You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm like, as much stuff that goes on in Miami, and we know Miami is the east coast of Las Vegas. Whatever goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, and that's in Miami. It just, to me, both of them did some things they shouldn't have done. The police officer let Tyreek Hill get underneath his skin. Now, what I didn't like was when Tyreek said to him, he said, "I just had surgery on my knee," and he pushed him down. I think that could have messed up his career. It could mess up his season if he would have hurt him like that. But again, Calais Campbell just come to his rescue and like, "Yo," he's like, "Do you know what's going on here?" Now they said that he was driving recklessly through traffic.
He
Right.
was doing 100.
He was doing 100, Dana?
Yes.
He was doing 65 or 100.
He was doing
65. He was doing 65 and a 45.
They said 100.
No, that was the initial report, and then later on in the day they came out with another. They had a little press conference or whatever, and it was 60 in the 45. He was going 15 miles over the speed limit.
Now,
yeah.
Let me ask you all y'all question to drive. If it's not, and I'm trying to figure this one out because only place it can be 45 is if you're going to the stadium. Like if you're going from a light to a light, it says 45, right? There's nowhere on the highway down in Miami that says 45. It's 70 on the highway. So where could he have been going that fast? I mean, and think about it. If people's going to the game, so traffic kind of heavy. So where could he have did 60 in a 45 at if they put him over right next to the stadium? I'm a little confused on this one.
Yeah, that's that stadium, like, the outskirts of that is the, I've been there a couple times. I mean, the neighborhood is like probably like the street over.
Can somebody help me here?
You see what he was driving?
Yeah, but I'm
pulling up Google Maps right now.
But what I'm saying though is like there's places in Harrisburg that's 45, right? They're not in the city. They might be on a highway. At some point, somewhere on the highway, it may be 45, and not necessarily. Well,
But you're right, Phil. I don't know.
Matter of fact, there's no
45.
there's no place in Harrisburg like a city street can do. You can do, I think, 25, right? But there's no place that says you can do 45. It's 25 or 35, and then on the highway is 65 or 70, right? So if he's in a rural area and he did 60 and a 45, that something just ain't making sense to me here. You know what I'm saying? Because just think about this: if the speed limit is 45 and everybody else is doing 45 to 50, how can he do 60 unless there's like 8 lanes or something? And then is there a express lane on this street or wherever it was? Like, you know how you get into the far left lane that allows you to go faster than anybody else? Is it that type of highway?
Well, I can't really say exactly the spot, the location where he was at, but I've been to that stadium many a times. And when you're coming off the Florida Turnpike there, it takes you right into the stadium. So coming off that turnpike, you could literally be doing 100 miles an hour, which he wasn't doing 100. He was doing 60, as they say. And so he could have been doing 60 until he got up into that point. But keep in mind, these were motorcycle cops. They didn't have radars out there. This was the estimated. They were just guesstimating what he was doing. So, because if you're directing traffic into the stadium, you're not sitting out there with radar. So, but my point is, he could conceivably have been doing 60 miles an hour going into that stadium, not going into the stadium, but coming off the turnpike.
Don't his license plate say cheetah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Matthew.
So what he just said on that turnpike, I'm looking at Google Maps, and on this turnpike, I see like where they pulled, like where he did the 16 to 45. For him to do that, he had to either done that before the exit or right after the exit on the middle lane that leads into the stadium, and then he immediately stopped, got pulled over right before lot 2, and waited for them to pull behind them, go through that process.
See,
so there's no other way for him to do that type of speed limit, because on the other end of the stadium, there's really not that much of a highway. It's more of like a state route.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I'm just saying, and so Curry said he's been to the stadium before, and so there's some places probably that he could have done something. But this is what the article says: police officer involved in Tyreek Hill detaining has been named by Miami-Dade Police Department. More details continue to come to light in the incident that occurred outside Miami's Hard Rock Stadium. Dolphins star wide receiver was en route to his team's season opener against the Jaguars when he was handcuffed during a traffic stop. The Miami-Dade Police Department placed one of 4 officers involved in the incident on administrative duty. On Tuesday, name of that officer was revealed. He is what to know about the officer placed on administrative duty after Hill's detainment Sunday. The officer that detained Hill was Danny Torres, 27-year-old veteran of the Miami-Dade Police. The Miami-Dade Police Department announced on the same day as the traffic stop that Torres had been placed on administrative duty. The department released any statement Tuesday named Torres. Officer Danny Torres, 27, tenure remains in administration duty as the internal affairs investigation is still going on. The Miami-Dade Police said in a statement, "We will provide further information once it becomes available pending the outcome of the investigation." When told an officer was placed on leave, Hill said, "After Sunday's game, that tells me all you need to know." Torres' attorney Alvarez and Israel Reyes issued a statement Monday calling for their client's immediate reinstatement. At the time of the statement, the name of the officer remained unclosed. We urge all parties to refrain from making public statements that may misrepresent our client's actions and mislead the public about Mr. Hill's detainment. Alvarez said in a statement. Hill's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, called Torres and the officers involved in his client's detainment to be fired for the position. For me personally, I believe the police officer that did that to TYREEK shouldn't be in the position that he should be let go. Rosenhaus said during an appearance on the Dan Le Batard show on Tuesday, look at the guy who kicked him. The guy should be fired. That's out of control. The guy that jumped in and put him in a chokehold. There's no place for the police officer to have a badge that operates like that. When TYREEK was being aggressive or violent or fighting back in the captivity, that was horrendous how they treated him. They didn't treat him like a human being. Torres' legal team contacted Hill in attempts to apologize. Dolphin Star said, but the request was denied. Blah, 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 receive, blah, 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 blah. So by them putting him on desk duty, by them sending a letter and he didn't accept it, that lets you know what's going on. But the bigger picture of this right here is that, like Tyreek Hill said, if I was just a normal Joe Blow, what would have happened to me? That's the part that bothers me more than anything else. And again, I think Tyreek could have acted a little bit better. He could have left his window down, because I think he kind of pissed the officer off when he rolled his window back up, you know. But again, after he pulled Tyreek out of the vehicle like he did, and then he said to me, he said, I just had surgery on my knee. He didn't care. You know, and then I think after the one officer told him who he was, I think then that's when the light bulb went on. And he's like, oh, Holy Ghost, I'm in trouble now because of what I've done. But again, if that was us, you know where we would be.
Yeah.
That's the sad part about it.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Dana.
I was making a phone call to the show.
Hey, let me come in.
All I'm going to say is they both were in the wrong. It hurt my heart to say it. Tyreek was wrong. I'm going to tell you why. Because you don't, this already jacked up. Already jacked up. So you know they ready. You know they ready. And I'm going to tell you what happened to me when I rolled my window back up. A gun was pulled on me.
You said what?
I was young and dumb. When I rolled my window down and I rolled the back up, an officer pulled a gun.
Wow.
And first thing after that, I put my hands in the steering wheel and rolled the window back down. Like this shit ever did. I was done. Man, they already jacked. And this was before most of y'all this stuff was happening. I was in high school. I was running late. I got pulled over. I was driving fast, but you know, it was my fault because I rolled my window back up. This was before cell phones and everything. Body cam. And they say that as a disrespectful thing when you roll the window back.
Right.
That's why they pushed him on. He was at 5. That pushed him up like the 30.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say
if you listen, he could have said, I don't care.
Because the thing about it is, though,
I don't care who you are. I don't care.
But now the thing about it is, when he rolled his window back up, as a police officer, I'm like, oh, what the hell he doing? Why he rolled the window back up? Now I have my hand on my gun because I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're doing because the tint's so dark on your car. I can't see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think they both was wrong in the way they approached. But go ahead, Kerry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for TYREEK to sit there and say, if he wasn't TYREEK Hill, what would have been, what could have been, that's all speculation. There's nothing that proves what he's saying is true. yes, it could happen. It could happen in a different way had he not been Tyreek Hill. But I don't think if he was Tyreek Hill, let's just say he wasn't Tyreek Hill. Let's say it was Curry. Why can't I just roll my windows down, put my hands on the steering wheel, and say, here's my license, here's my registration. All right, cite me and let me go. Okay. Now, once they got him out the car, that's where I have the issue at.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at those cops, those are some pretty big boys.
Yeah.
How can Tyreek Hill be a threat to those guys when he probably weighs 180 pounds soaking wet? But yet, these guys feel like he's a threat. Now, he's standing there, his hands behind his back, handcuffed, and you're going to make him sit down on that hot ground. It was 90 degrees. Let him just stand there, do what you got to do, get this man on his way. See, a good cop will make the situation go away quick. All we want to do, write you your ticket, get you on your way. I'm done. You're done. Get out of my face. You're gone. But they made the situation worse by arguing, and you could tell that cop was very angry. And I don't know if he's having a bad day or what. But if he wasn't having a bad day, I'd hate to caught him on his bad day.
Wow. Anybody else got any
He
comments?
rolled that window back up. He was on 30.
Anybody else got any comments on that right there? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Deshaun Watson. Now,
I got something.
Go ahead.
I agree that he should have never rolled his window up. I've had conversations with my son. My son has been in the car when I was pulled over by the cop, and he had his hands up in the back seat. So I know that he knows what to do.
Wow.
I agree with what Curry said that once he got out of the car, but we don't see when they ever asked him for his license and registration.
Okay.
So if he gave it to him before the camera's on, and then the guy's saying, "What are you doing? Why are you driving so fast?" And he said to him, "Man, just give me my ticket so I can go." So I think there's more to the story because there's more before that.
Okay.
Because we never hear about that because they didn't even ask for those.
All he said was, "Give me the ticket so I can go."
Exactly, but think about it. How do they know who he is unless they got his license and registration already?
Right.
Yeah, because I never heard him say that they asked him for it or anything. And I think
exactly. So I think that was before the body cam.
Yeah, and I
so
think
he might have been pulled over for like 30 minutes, and you just get tired after sitting there for 30 minutes. Just give me my ticket.
Okay.
Like I said,
I think that's something nobody's talking about.
Okay.
That's interesting, yeah, because he went from like that, from that body cam, he went from about 5 to 30.
Again, though.
He was hot.
Again, when you roll that window down and you roll that window back up, as a police officer, you're like, okay, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? He knows he's supposed to leave that window down. So, like Dana said, he went from 5 to 100 right then and there. And I'm surprised he didn't show his hand on his pistol, sidearm, or pulling him out the taser. So again, I think Tyreek shouldn't have rolled the window back up, but the way they treat him when they pulled him out of the car, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do that at all. And the police officer that did that, he's probably gonna lose his job. He's probably gonna be at the stadium selling peanuts, popcorn, Coca-Cola.
That's why he apologized.
Cotton candy, peanuts. Yeah, that's what he might be doing. Next up, guys, Deshaun Watson said he denies all allegations. Browns say he will play Sunday. I'm gonna say this about Deshaun Watson. As a Browns fan, I have not seen him play the way he played in Houston. I think that his shoulder is worse than what they're saying. But just seeing throwing arm, just throwing the football. It didn't look right to me. And then the one time when Micah tackled him and he hit the shoulder on the ground, he got up and they showed him like doing something with his arm, like trying to do something to it. He felt discomfort. I don't know if Deshaun Watson will finish this season with the Cleveland Browns. I just don't know. To me, only thing Watson has to do is just be a normal Joe Blow. He needs to be a manager of the game and let that, and everything else will flow. He's not. He's not. We will never see the Houston Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. The more and more I think about the trade and all the jewels that the Texans got, I'm not happy. Now he did restructure his contract, right? Because they still thought they was in the running to get Tyreek Hill. I mean, not Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk. And then I know also there was thoughts about going after Devontae Adams. Now I know this is the first game, and again, he has not played during the preseason at all. So there are some things that you allow to happen, right?
Yeah.
But then when this allegation comes up, my first thing is like, I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying he didn't do it. But why 4 years later are you bringing this up? When you had an opportunity to take care of this, a year and a half ago, you could have been one of the other Jane Does. If he actually did what he did, why bring it up now? Why? We need to know why now. You know what I'm saying? Because who's to say 6 months from now somebody gonna come back up and say, yeah, he did it to me again. I know there's no statute of when there's no statute limitation for this. But again, why is this being said now? And if he did it, shame on him, and whatever happens to him happens to him. But again, I'm just confused because it's 4 years later, and it just makes no sense to me. And I read the article where he met the girl and they're supposed to go back to his place and he couldn't find the place. And I'm saying to myself, you driving the car, you don't got GPS. You don't got GPS on your phone, on your car, to find out where this young lady live at. So she says he came there while she's in the bathroom getting herself together. He lays on the bed, say he wants a massage.
Right.
And I think that if we talk about all the other things that he did,
you know what that means, though.
Yeah. And I think though is if he did what she say he did, why is it what took it 4 years to do it? If he actually sexually assaulted her, why 4 years later? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And this is why the thing about it is you have to be careful in a situation like this, man. Even at your job, you have to be careful because the little thing you say to somebody is sexual harassment now, and you could lose your job. And Deshaun's not gonna lose his job, but now he can't focus on football because he got to deal with this, right? And
not only that.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Today, since September 8th, there's been talk deep inside the Browns organization because they've been looking at this big contract when he originally signed it, and the league won't put him on that Josh Gordon gimmick, but within the contract was the language, the way that it was worded. And the NFL, if they do decide to suspend him in some way or form because they're doing their own investigation while authorities are doing their own thing, if the NFL finds something, kind of like how they did down in Texas with that situation, the Browns can ignore that whole contract as a whole based off the language that they did when he signed this contract.
Exactly, and that's the part that's that's going to be the killer is that he won't have that contract is null and void at this point. It's null and void at this point.
Are these new allegations or old?
These are new.
Yeah.
This happened in 2020.
Wow.
4 years ago, and and trust me, I'm not taking his side on this at all. But I just want to know why it's taking so long. Where have you been for the last 4 years that you brought this up? Because let's think about this. If he actually sexually assaulted her 4 years ago, has she not had sexual encounters with anybody else in 4 years? Has she been, every time a man touched her, she has a flashback of this? You know, I'm just saying, because how long could you live with that? I couldn't live with that for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And if she met somebody that she really liked or she wanted to marry, she would say, like, I don't feel comfortable because I always get these flashbacks of what Deshaun Watson did to me. That's understandable. That's understandable.
And the way that the NFL's going to look at it when they do their investigation with this allegation is, does it fit under a violation of the personal conduct policy?
Yeah.
Because depending on how that is, because I remember, like, back in the 2010s, it was like just like that. Like, you'd see players left and right, but now you have to like find like actual investigation into this. Like, I feel like this starts back with the Deflategate, but now this is like this a physical matter, not a mental matter.
Right. Right. All right, guys. Anybody got anything else for that? Because we can move on after that. Atlanta Falcons, did they sign the wrong quarterback? Now we know he hadn't played all year long. But Mo, I know you watched the game.
Right.
I know you watched the game, Mo. The interception that he threw, it's not like the ball got tipped. It's not like the guy
the first one?
Overthrew him.
He threw two.
He threw the ball right to the Pittsburgh Steelers, to the defender. How?
He threw two interceptions. Which one's the second one was tipped. But the second one, his arm was hit.
Okay. But the other one,
the first one, well, what happened was the wide receiver stopped on the first one because he was running into the safety. And he threw it where the wide receiver would have been if he would have stopped running. And the safety was right there, so he threw it right to the safety.
Okay.
He never saw the safety.
So let me ask you guys a question. And Mo, you watched the game. Is he rusty, or he just don't? Kirk Cousins is not that.
He can't move on that leg. They said in the pocket he only moved like 3 yards per play, and that's why they had to keep running from the shotgun because he couldn't move.
And
the Steelers figured it out in the second half. That's why they only got 50 yards in the second half.
And they also had to go to a silent count at home. But now, this is my question, guys.
Steelers fans like crazy, bro.
This is my question, guys. Did Atlanta not do a physical on him before they signed him to all that money?
They did do a physical. That was like the number one priority before money was even a talkative option. And at that point, they said that he was good enough. They didn't say 100%, but he was good enough to be in the position that he's in now.
That's, I mean, if he can't move, then that's another quarterback they took all.
And I feel like with him, he's been doing this with every team that he's been with since the start of his career. When it comes to like the physicals.
Curry, what's your thoughts on Kirk Cousins?
there's obviously something going on with him because I heard something where they really changed their playbook up. They were running plays in that game that they didn't run in the preseason, and which makes no sense to me. And then when because Kirk Cousins didn't play in the preseason, then all of a sudden you changing the playbook, that kind of tells me that something's not quite right with him from a health standpoint.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything about Kirk Cousins? I don't. I think that. I mean, they gave him a lot of money, so they got to play him, right?
Yeah.
And they drafted a quarterback. They drafted a quarterback, and Penix Jr. It didn't make sense for them to draft the quarterback if they had him there, because the money they gave him was like, okay, you're gonna be here for at least 3 years, and then we can look for another quarterback. Now, the only thing that kind of fits the mold of them bringing Penix Jr. in is that if he does well, his contract, he don't get a new contract for another 3 years, where they're getting ready to pay everybody else the money, so they don't have to worry about the quarterback getting a load of money. At the time,
and not only that,
at the time they want to give him money.
With Cousins and the way Atlanta did this, if he gets a serious injury at some point this season, they're going to meet back at the table, agree on a restructure while Penix is on the field, and it may come down to this could be Cousins' last season or next season, depending on what injury he gets if he does get injured.
Okay.
So I think give Penix some weapons within free agency and draft.
Is that his contract though? They can renegotiate if he gets injured again.
More than likely, probably, depending on how the languaging it was within the written paperwork.
Okay. All right, guys. So let's go ahead to some college football. To me, who's the worst team in the top 10? Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, Tennessee, Penn State, Oregon, or Miami?
Alabama. Alabama.
The worst?
The worst team in the
You're not winning the championship this year.
We'll go with Oregon.
You think Oregon is the worst team?
Oregon, just because I've watched both of their games, and they look like a team that won't be in the top 10 within a couple of weeks unless they get something going.
Okay. Anybody got a comment on that?
The fact that you almost lose to Idaho.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and then you almost lose to Boise State.
That's like Penn State. They played Bowling Green, and that was a struggle for them. But they didn't go up or go down.
Yeah, they were big struggle that too.
They didn't go up or down. You know what I'm saying? They still stuck at number 8. You got Tennessee at 2, Tennessee at 7, Missouri at 6. Ole Miss. You got a bunch of ACC. You got Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, Tennessee, and the top 10, and from the ACC. I mean, from the SEC.
Now, at the bottom of that list, you got the little tiny Mac of NIU.
Northern
and
Illinois.
I just want to say, big congrats to them and that head coach. And I am telling you right now, there's probably bigger teams making phone calls to their department saying, hey, how much do you want for this dude?
So guys, I don't know if you guys watched that game. With North Illinois, they played Notre Dame, right? That's who Notre Dame lost to. When in North Illinois?
Yep. That was a disaster.
So, and the thing about it is, I don't like Notre Dame, but I like their coach.
Their name is overrated.
You know, and the thing about it is, he's a player's coach, but he's a coach for Notre Dame. To lose at home, and that, if you look at the schedule, this schedule is cake, right? This schedule is cake.
Was.
And they dropped from They were what, number 10? I think they were
5.
They were number 5, and they dropped all the way to 18. So,
Yep.
so they at Purdue. They got Miami, Ohio, Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, and USC. They beat Texas. They beat Texas Tech 23-13. I mean Texas A&M, right? And I'm gonna say this, guys. They might be a team that only has one loss that might not make the playoffs. And I think the reason why that's going to happen is because all the conferences want them to make a decision to go to a conference, right? Because the schedule doesn't reflect them being. Let's say this is the only loss they get, right? Should they be in the playoffs? Is the question. USC, who's number 11, Army, Virginia, Florida State, Navy, Georgia Tech, Stanford, Louisville is ranked right now at 19. Miami, Ohio, Purdue, none of them are ranked. So do you think? So if they go with 10-1, should they be in the playoffs? Does the schedule dictate where they go in the playoffs?
No, because the way Notre Dame, when you lose to a back team at home, that changes the whole perspective on the rest of your season on what you have to do. If they want to go to the playoffs, they're going to have to blow out all the lighter teams like Miami, Ohio, Army, and Virginia Tech. And USC has to at least win by 10 points to make it recognizable to that committee. If you're going to win by closer games, then you're not going to go to the playoffs because the committee is looking for the best team, not with the best record.
Mm-hmm. So what I did, I put
record and team are two different things.
I put up the schedule for 2026. This is who they have on the schedule. Now, this schedule is a little better, right? So they have Wisconsin, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Virginia, Navy, USC, Florida State, Miami, and Syracuse. So this is more like they have more like an ACC flavor to this right now.
No.
Because you have North Carolina.
What are you listening to it?
You got North Carolina, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, Syracuse. More ACC, right? So the schedule.
And the weird thing is with Notre Dame.
Go ahead.
And they're probably one of the weirdest colleges with this stat line. So they're independent in football. They're in the ACC in basketball. And they're in the Big Ten in hockey.
Yeah, they're all over the place. And because they have the contract with NBC, they can kind of dictate where they want to go, what they want to do. But we know that every conference wants them in their conference. And what's going to probably hurt them is that their schedule they have right now doesn't solidify them being in the national championship. I mean, being in the playoffs. Even at 10-1, they or 11-1, whatever their record could be. It doesn't reflect.
Well, I tell you what, if they go 11-1, they're definitely going to be in the conversation because if you got some bunch of two-win teams now, but I'd say after 10 games, some of those 2-0 teams are going to have two losses.
So,
but the thing is,
go ahead.
With Notre Dame, since they're not in a conference, in order for them to even go to the playoffs, they have to be at least a 7th seed or higher.
So Curry,
they have to be what now?
They got to be at least 7th seed or higher. So Curry, let me ask you a question. Would you? Let's say, the top 10 right now, you have Miami, Oregon, Penn State, Tennessee, Missouri, Ole Miss, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, and Georgia. if I would probably say Miami, if they had 2 losses, that they could take Miami's place. Everybody else have had 2 losses and they end up in the top 10. So I don't see anything else changing for that fact. But Curry, if you have those 2 losses, and let's say Miami has those 2 losses, do you still put Notre Dame in that spot?
Well, you got to look at the strength of schedule too, and that's what they're going to base it on. Because if you look at Miami right now, Miami's played two cupcake games. They haven't played anybody. So it's too early to tell what they're going to be. Now, granted, I think Miami's going to be a definitely a good team down the stretch. But right now, just based on their 2 games, they haven't played anybody. So I think strength of schedule is going to come into play, especially when you get into the 9th week and the 10th week around there. That's when the tire meets the road.
Okay, so you made a good point about the strength of schedule. So I pulled it up. College football strength of schedule remain: Florida State's number 1, Oklahoma is number 2, Wisconsin's number 3, UCLA is number 4, Washington's number 5, USC's number 6, Purdue's number 7, Mississippi State's number 8, Alabama's 9, Georgia's 10, and so on and so on. So you got Vanderbilt, Arkansas, LSU, Oregon, Virginia, Minnesota, Ole Miss, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio State, Arizona State, Louisville, South Carolina, Arizona, Missouri, USC, Michigan State, Rutgers, BYU, Houston are the top 30. They have the toughest schedule. From there, you have, where is Notre Dame at? Oh my goodness! Wow, they're not even. Okay, Notre Dame is 63rd with the toughest schedule. So I agree with you when you say strength of schedule, because now you see that it's a different animal now when you say strength of schedule, because now you're looking at something completely different. So again,
strength of schedule as well as quality wins.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Notre Dame saw this coming. We all saw this coming a couple years ago. They said in a few years we're going to add more teams to the playoffs. So Notre Dame should have stacked their schedule to a point where you're not playing Northern Illinois and losing to them. You're playing a quality game. If you think about it, we saw some of the teams play some quality games this year. Like Georgia, they played Clemson. They beat the snot out of Clemson. Now they got Tennessee Tech. They beat the snot out of them. So in week 4, they play Alabama. Then week 7, they play Texas. Ole Miss and Tennessee are some teams they play. But we're starting to see teams now play top-level teams. Again, I still say that if we got 12 teams in the playoffs, and even though their schedule's already made up for the next 2 to 3 years, just say, look, I'm going to play you back to back. And it makes the college football better, because even though they don't have no preseason games, I guarantee you Notre Dame wouldn't want to play North Illinois again next year, because they're like, yo, this team's really good. You know what I'm saying? And not Alabama, but Notre Dame didn't play up to their expectations, I might say. But at the same token, though, I just think that you got 12 teams make the playoffs. Those 12 teams should find somewhere on their schedule to put them in there to play each other next year, because that makes that window of opportunity that much harder, but makes us as fans love it more, because now we know they're playing some quality teams, and you got to be ready first week of the season. You got to be ready the second week of the season. Then you got to be worried about when you get to your conference, because they're always going to be, you're always going to have teams in your conference that you got to be prepared for. So I would love to see that happen. I think that would make college football that much better. And you know what else it would stop doing? It stopped guys from transferring all over the place. Because if you're Georgia and the top 12 teams that make the playoffs, and let's say you pull them out of hat, and you got to play, say, Penn State, who's in the top 10, or let's say you play Oregon, who's in the top 10 next year, and everybody's gonna see that game. So your players gonna say, "Man, I'm staying. I'm not leaving because I'm gonna play against Georgia. I'm not leaving because the competition has stepped up. Where you have teams now that you play. You pay them to come get beat up. You know what I'm saying? You pay them $1 million to come to your stadium and get beat up. School gets $1 million. Players get some record. They get seen maybe by somebody, but again, the competition is not really there. You know, like Penn State, if Penn State got upset like Notre Dame, they would probably be right where Notre Dame is too. They'd be 15, 16, 17, 18 for whatever. You know what I'm saying? So they won by the skin of their teeth, but that's a game that they felt like that's a game they felt like they should have won. You know what I mean? So that's just my
that's not only that, but this weekend I could feel some upset. Like Alabama, they're going up to Wisconsin, and I'm kind of curious on how they're going to handle with that stadium, because that stadium sold out, is one of the loudest stands in the Big Ten. And then you got Oregon going to Oregon State for a rivalry that's supposed to be in November, but with the conference changeover, the rivalries are now in September for them. And then you got Boston College, who's ranked at 24, going at Missouri. And if Boston College, what they did to Florida State, if I'm Missouri, I would be a bit worried.
And looking at the weather, up in Wisconsin, it's going to be, if the game starts at 1 o'clock, it's going to be 76 degrees.
12 o'clock.
If the game starts at they didn't give me the after
12 o'clock till 11 a.m.
Yeah, so
there.
So yeah, it's going to be upper 70s, but then when you get on the field, it's going to be a whole different story for you. So again, it's going to be up in the air when it comes to these games being played, college football games.
And the weird thing is, there's also a few teams who haven't allowed a touchdown yet. Like Ohio State, Georgia, I believe. Washington, surprisingly. And the weird thing was last week, when we played against Eastern Michigan, was it was considered the most transfer portal game ever in NCAA history.
Wow.
With 97 new players total.
That's crazy. And again, if you play quality teams, you probably don't have them guys leaving to go somewhere else to play. You know what I'm saying? But and what young people or young athletes that's getting scholarship need to understand is that your scholarship is not a 4-year scholarship. It's a year-to-year scholarship now. I don't know if you still. I know they probably do give out 4-year scholarships with guys that got nice NIL deals, right? Because that's probably excuse me. That's probably a must to get the NIL deal, to have a 4-year scholarship where you can't break it off. But a lot of them guys have year-to-year scholarships, right? So again,
they need to stop calling it scholarships. Just call it rentals.
Yeah. So you look at that and you say to yourself, "Wow, you know, it's some big business here, man. Big business." So,
he said that there was teams out there hadn't given up a touchdown. Ole Miss, they're 2 games. They've outscored their opponents 128-3, I think it is.
Oh my goodness. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
And then Wake Forest, they come to Wake Forest, which is about 3 miles from my house. I paid at Wake Forest.
Wow.
And what the big changes that I mentioned with the rivalry thing this weekend for me is the biggest game of the year, which it's usually in November, but the Apple Cup with it in September, which is the earliest that the rivalry has ever been in its history that they mentioned. They said the last time they did something like this was in October back in the mid-1900s.
So we're talking about Oregon and Oregon State, right?
Oregon State, and Washington State. Like, those rivalries are usually on the last week of November.
Yes.
And we're in September.
See, they're trying to get them out the way so they can get these 12 teams together. So I'm looking Georgia against Kentucky. That should be a good game this weekend, I think. And see, like with Penn State has 2 byes this year. Tell me you couldn't put another team in there. I'm sorry. You could have asked somebody to come and play you.
You could have asked Hawaii. You could have asked a small, like, FBS school like Appalachian State, or
you definitely could have asked somebody to come and play. I'm sorry, guys. So,
and I'll say this right now too. Congrats to Nebraska on cleaning house on Dion. Like, I watched that game, and there's going to be a mess at the end of the year if there hasn't already. And report earlier this week is that Dion does not want their band playing at all because he would rather have his son's rap music video playing after each big play and his son's touchdown.
You know what? I was going to that. I was going to Dion next, guys. I want to get everybody's thoughts on this situation because how is you going? This is not looking good, man. This is not looking good for Dion. Scratch the USC job because he ain't ready for that. He ain't ready for that. So, Mo, give me your take on the situation with Deion Sanders. Do you agree with what he's doing? Yes or no? And please explain your answer.
With what he's doing, I'm confused by that question.
So he doesn't want the band to play music. He wants
that okay.
He wants his son's music to be played, rap music to be played, if he scores a touchdown. But again, Colorado is not looking really good.
I think what Deion is really trying to do, he's talking to his players, what they want to do, what they want to hear to keep them motivated. Because last year they got so demotivated, that's why they lost all the games at the end of the season.
Was that the band's
fault? He spoke to them. He's probably talked to them. The band is something that, what does it matter? Who is it for? Is it for the crowd? Is it for the team? Is it for the players?
Now, I'm going to say this about the band. Like my high school, when they play, we be jamming. Like, we be jamming. I mean, I'll be on the field filming, but man, I'll be wanting to dance because they just that good. Now, I'm not saying Colorado's not that good, but if I don't understand how the band doesn't hype you up to want to play better. How it doesn't, I don't know. I've never listened to Colorado's band before, but it does. But to me,
I can give you some input.
Go ahead.
What's that? So when Washington played Colorado, or like just any Pac-12 team back in that timeline, I can tell you right now, it didn't matter like what crowd size that they had. That band knows what they're doing, and just in general with them, it would help out with those players, no matter what time it was or what the crowd size was, because there's always someone within that player line that gets so energized from the band. And it's such a big deal. And when I hear what Dion wants, it's very upsetting because in college football in general, within the landscape, the band is a big part of the team. It's like a bench player, but it's the biggest bench player. And I can tell you right now, there are boosters within Colorado that are not happy with this at all.
So, but let me ask you this, Matthew. Let me ask this. Do you think that boosters care more about the football team being better or the band playing?
They care right now. The band. Like,
and that tells
the band has now become the big focus at Colorado.
He's at the wrong team. He's at the wrong school. Because every other school cares about the football team being good and bringing money to the organization, to the institution.
Like for example, if Dion were the head coach at Ohio State and he just magically just says, "Hey, I would like my son to not have the band play for him," that would pardon my French, because Ohio State is one of those colleges, one of few within college football where the band is that highest standard.
Yeah, but the football team is good, and it draws a lot of money to the organization. Colorado has been terrible for over 20 years.
So let me
got to change the culture.
So let me ask you guys a question. I played football in high school. Mo, did you play football in high school?
I was injured my freshman year, so I didn't play after that.
Curry, did you play football in high school?
No.
Dana, did you play football in high school?
No.
How important was the band to you when you played? When you come out the locker room, was you rocking and rolling to the band?
No.
Your band was terrible?
I mean, our band was good, but I just I saw the songs that I could get through listening to.
Say that again?
On my headphones. I just jammed off the songs that I got to listen to on my headphones.
Oh.
We came out to Ric Flair.
I was focused on the game plan that I had to do.
And so Mo said
we came out to Ric Flair, and then
I had to cut all this stuff out, but I had to put it in my head like, okay, I'm ready to go. But the band was good too. We had a good band.
Mo said you came out on what?
We came out to Ric Flair. Ric Flair's entrance song is how we came into the football field.
Did it hype you up?
And that was so hype.
Okay.
We didn't lose. We only lost. My freshman year, I was with the JV and the varsity team. We lost when we went to Buffalo Gap. So I think Thomas Jones was on that team who played at UVA. So all I'm saying is that was what hyped us up. The band was always there for the crowd, and also the band was there after the game for the crowd. It wasn't for the players.
Curry, did your band hype you up when you played football?
I actually didn't play any football,
okay.
But I don't remember the bands being all that exciting in high school. Now, going to college games, it was a little bit different. Like going up to Winston State, watching those, and A&T, those. Now that's when you get really serious about the band play. Because I mean, they have what they call the battle of the bands
right.
when they doing that thing, man. That's a different level right there. But high school, I never really got excited about high school bands.
My high school band, I'm telling you, they be. I haven't recorded them at all this year. because I just been focused on the football team because we struggled a little bit. Even though we won, we're 2-1. We won this weekend 7-6. That was a great game. Big time players made big time plays, a big time game. They had went for a field goal with like a minute something left. And we blocked the field goal, and we had all they had to do was get a first down and run the clock out. And while we get delay on the first play, which if I'm not mistaken, when there's possession of football, you get 45 seconds to run a play, not 25, right? And our time clock, the game clock was off. I mean, play clock was off because they couldn't get that right. So we had to have a referee on the field do it, right? And he would raise his hand at 10. And he raised his hand at 10 really fast on the first play. So we go, it's 1st and 15. So it ended up being 3rd and maybe 8. We punt the ball off, right? And they get the ball. They run up like maybe 10, 15 yards to get the ball. And he throws it out and we pick it. We pick that off. So we get, now we got the ball back. No timeouts. We can just nail the ball. But the band was so hyped. I'm gonna have to record it and I'm gonna show you guys. The band's not big, but they can jam. They can jam, and so I think that hypes me up as a grown man now, and it hyped me up as a kid in high school. And again, I understand what Mo is saying that it's a different culture, but again, you have people that go there to be in the band. And that's disappointing to them in the band. They're like, oh, is this how we doing it now? The band's going to leave. Then the band's going to really suck because nobody wants to go there. Well, I mean, Deion might be going after next year anyway. Once his son leaves, he might be going anyway. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, I don't think that's fair to the band who works hard to do what they do. And like Curry said, if you don't know, if you watched what's the movie with Nick Cannon in it? When he Drumline. That's how they work. That's just a little bit of what they do. They run miles. They got to run miles a certain time. They got to do push-ups. They got to do something. They got to do a lot. So for them to work that hard and then don't come to Saturday and you tell me you don't want me to play because your son, you want to play his music, I got to, as a band member and as a band alumni, I have a problem with that. I'm not saying right or wrong, but I'm just saying to explain to me why you're doing this. You're catering to one player, right? But what about the other players? So let's say the other players come and say, well, I don't want the band playing for me either. I want to play this. I got to rap. I got some music that I want to play. So now you open a can of worms. Not saying that you're going to do it.
And the weird thing is now with the NIL, I'm not for sure with college, but I know with high school, like some of these bands, they compete against each other, like during the off season. So like imagine like someone transfers in the band section, because some colleges now they have the boosters for the band. Mm-hmm. So you're probably wondering, are the boosters, if Colorado does have boosters within their band department, how upset they are with that?
Exactly.
Or are they being forced to agree with him within that point?
Exactly. And like Curry said, the battle of the bands, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care what nobody say. HBCU bands gets it in. They had a battle of bands.
It's a whole different level.
They came here to Harrisburg. It was.
They come there for the band, not the game.
Well.
So wait, said
when you do the battle of the bands, it's just about it's just the bands that's there, right? But at the same token,
they have the battle of the bands while the game is going on.
Yeah,
playing music against each other, back and forth.
Right.
Because the game, ain't nobody care about the game.
Well, that's because you got two teams that don't win. They ain't gonna win nothing. So the band is hyped. But at the same token, though, the band hypes up the football team, even if the football team is not that good. I mean, I ain't never heard nobody say I'm going to FAMU because the band's good. I'm gonna play football at FAMU because the band jamming. I ain't never heard that before. But again,
dude, there's some people in HBCU that are playing and on the band at the same time.
So wait, when the team is coming out, they didn't let the band play the music?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
No, he didn't. When they score a touchdown, or if he does something good, he wants his rap music to be played, and not the band to play anything. And
His son does.
Yeah, no, this is Dion. And at halftime, he don't want them to play.
Oh. Well, you don't want the band to play at halftime?
No.
Oh, they must stink.
You said they stink. They must stink.
Let me tell you something. They ain't got to worry about it. His son didn't do nothing for them to play rap music.
Wow.
He's denied that, and school has denied that.
So we had 2 hours, guys. So I want to continue this conversation about Deion Sanders in Colorado, because now that Dak,
he won't be that long.
We didn't get a chance to talk about Dak and CeeDee Lamb getting the money, and Micah's probably next, and
well, I will say this: I told y'all Dak wasn't going nowhere.
Nah, you did say that.
I told you he wasn't coming to the Steelers.
Oh, I did. Y'all asked me where was he going. I said he's not going anywhere.
Michael Irvin said Dak already has that money.
And then, they definitely they did that. Jerry Jones did that so the Cowboys could be talked about all summer long. That's why he did that. That's all. That's what he did that so Dallas could be irrelevant for the whole summer. You know, he does that.
Well, yeah, Dallas don't usually let their starting quarterbacks get away.
Mm-mm. And the thing about it is, if but listen, but Dana, think about it like this: who are they gonna replace him with?
Shador.
Dana, again, I'm gonna say this: who are they gonna replace him with?
Trey Lance.
Again, who are they gonna replace him with? He gives them. He gives them the best. He gives them the best chance. He gives them the best. He gives them the best chance of winning. He gives them the best chance of winning. Real quick,
I'll tell you this: they could put Gardner Minshew in there, because everywhere he goes, he starts.
And then real quick.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Real quick, if you want to keep up with Dion, he'll be on CBS at 7:30 Saturday when they play at Colorado State. And then second, real quick, I hope we take care of them Cougars this weekend in the Apple Cup, because that's going to be played in the Seahawks Stadium since we're both in the non-conference.
Let Dion lose this weekend and see
what happens. I'd like to say too, I know I'm hard on the Jets, but I just knew that with McCaffrey not playing, that defense would play a lot better.
Yes.
But man, they shredded that defense. I mean, I'm not a Jets fan, but I wasn't expecting that.
That backup running back, he showed out. I'm telling you right now, McCaffrey need to be worried. He need to be worried. I'm telling you right now.
I don't think McCaffrey need to be worried.
He needs to be worried. That kid
another weapon.
That kid looked good. That kid looked real good. I mean, McCaffrey can make sure
they look good last year.
They can make sure that McCaffrey is healthy. Before they bring him back totally healthy, because that kid looks really good. Real quick, Rich, real quick. So that Dak got his money.
Yes, sir.
Where's Purdy gonna land at? Let's say Purdy gets to the Super Bowl and they win. Where do you think his contract lands at there?
61 to 65. If he wins the Super Bowl, he's top dog in the league at that point. Like, you got to pay, and there's nothing you can do.
So you're saying he would be the highest?
Right now, I think we have like 40. Go ahead.
So you're saying you think he would be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL if he wins the Super Bowl?
For a hot second.
Let's say if he don't win the Super Bowl, you still think he's gonna get paid that much?
He'll probably get closer to 61.
Okay.
Like, I'm concerned that his agent is going to push for it. Like, I'm not sure if Brock is going to be pushing, but his agent wants that commission. So he's going to push for the highest paid QB in the league.
Okay. All right, guys. Before we go, I got you got 30 seconds for your soapbox. Dana, give us something good to look forward to this week coming up for sports.
I just want to tell Dion the bad play. The spectacular. We don't want to hear no rap music. We want to win games. Win games, then play the rap music or whatever.
Okay. Can I move my mouse around? I think we lost Lou. Matthew, give us something good to listen to. Give us something good for next week's sports.
Next week's sports, I feel like I love this week's sports and next week. I feel like I'm excited with this rivalry with the Apple Cup. Like, I want to see how many people go in the Lumen Field on both ends and see what we can get going with this rivalry, make it hype like it was before. And then real quick, a big shout out to my mom today. She's a flight attendant. She's got 2 flights today. I told her I love her, and I hope her flights go safe and sound.
And we second that emotion. Curry, give us something good.
Yep, guys. Tune in Thursday night. We're the only game on Thursday night, NFL. And we're fixing to put a lot of stuff to rest about Team Beat a Good Team because we're going to beat Buffalo. And we're going to win in prime time. And not only that, we're going to win 35-17.
Ooh. Mo, talk to me. What you got for me?
Man, Philly sucks so much. The 76ers are thinking about leaving. That brings a smile to my face, man.
Now, Mo,
I know they're just trying to get away from Boston.
It's a training facility. It's not they gonna still play in Philly. It's a training facility that they want new.
I don't care.
They're
still getting out of Philly.
I said that 3 years ago.
It's just the first step.
Okay.
I hate Philly.
For me,
and Philly loves you.
For me, my moment is that October is right around the corner. And I cannot wait till these Boston Celtics get back on that basketball court. They're going to play with some vengeance. Oh, my Lord. Oh, they done made this team mad. M-A-D-D. D-D-D-D-D. Mad.
Can they win 74 if they stay healthy? Can they win 74?
I think they can, to be honest with you. Because they playing with vengeance. Now you got people saying that, they had an easy road to the playoffs and all that other. Oh man, I can't wait. Al Horford too old to be playing starting minutes and everything. I mean, just so much. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. All right, guys. I'll let y'all know about next. Oh, I'm sorry, Rich.
It's all good. Y'all, you can close the show out.
No. We got time. Go ahead. Give us a hot moment. What sports? What sports we talking about with you? Come on. Give us something good.
Football with me. That's really a hot moment. When we host the Lombardi this year, it's over with. Like, we about to win the whole thing. We're going to lose 3 games all season, and we're going to take this thing, and we're going to go ahead and lift that Lombardi in February.
So that give you more Super Bowl rings than the Steelers, right?
No, they got
absolutely. No, it'll be tied.
Oh, so they'll be tied.
But yeah, he was right. We could have done without that. I mean, it's all good because we know the Steelers ain't gonna be there.
Woo! Uh-oh.
You know, hey, we know it. If Russ doesn't rupture his Achilles, Ben Roethlisberger back to get that done. Wow.
Oh, that's deep.
He'd be rolling over his grave, right?
That's deep. That's deep. Big Ben back. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. I'll let y'all know again. I'll probably let y'all know tomorrow what my week look like. Cause man, I'm telling you, I'm so super busy. I do the scores for the soccer, the JV football, the freshman football, and then on top of that, I got basketball practice. We started practice, so we're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays.
We're talking about practice?
Yeah, we're talking about practice.
Get him, Matthew.
We talking about.
I can't say that because that's from Philly.
I'm talking about practice.
We in September and we're talking about practice.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I have alumni meeting every other Tuesday.
We ain't talking about the game.
Yeah, we talking about the game. We ain't talking about the game. We talking about practice. We talking about
practice.
All right, guys. Rich, I owe you a conversation, and we'll get to it when I hopefully we can talk tomorrow. To get that thing situated with you in your show, and we'll see where it go from there. I haven't heard anything from Coach Gray yet. Somebody said something.
Just make sure you get with me.
Make sure what?
You get with me on that. Like,
okay. Hopefully, like tomorrow.
I've been working on it.
Tomorrow, Friday might be a good day for me. Well, I don't know. I might be going to my nephew's game on Friday, but let's see. Thursday we got 6 to 8, so I might give you a call. What are you doing? What are you doing tomorrow after 8 o'clock?
I'm gonna be at home. You turned off the recording, right?
No, not yet. We'll talk. We'll talk, man. We'll talk. All right, guys. Let me. Thanks, Mo.
Thank you for listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show. You have been entertained in the sports world by KD from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the small city with a large heart, Dana the Hater Clark from St. Petersburg, Florida, and Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. Remember, we throw stones and we don't live in glass houses. Big-time players make big-time plays and big-time games. Stay ready to be ready. You have been listening to an In the Zone Sports Talk radio production. Remember, you can hear us again on star107fm.com on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support.